Israel-Gaza-Iran War News Live Update. U.S. attempts to prevent Israel-Hezbollah war in Lebanon. There is a growing danger that Israel and Hezbollah could start a wider regional conflict, therefore the U.S. is making a concerted diplomatic effort to avoid a full-scale war in Lebanon. U.S. officials have been trying to prevent a regional war that may involve Iran and the U.S. by putting pressure on their Israeli colleagues and communicating with Hezbollah's top brass in recent days. Tensions along Israel's northern border with Lebanon have been rising, prompting Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant to meet with several Biden administration officials in Washington this week. Tzachi Hanegbi, Israel's national security advisor, and Ron Dermer, the country's Minister of Strategic Affairs, had previously visited the country last week. Another high-ranking White House official, Amos Hochstein, who has been acting as a mediator between the warring factions, traveled to Israel and Lebanon last week. Mr. Hochstein cautioned the Iranian-backed Hezbollah that if Israel were to go to war with the armed group, the U.S. would be helpless to stop it. Firefights between Israel and Hezbollah, two longtime enemies, have broken out frequently along the northern border of Israel. In a show of solidarity with Hamas, which is also sponsored by Iran, and in response to the Israeli blistering assault on Gaza that was initiated by the attacks conducted by Hamas on October 7, Hezbollah started firing at Israel, mostly targeting Israeli military installations in northern Israel. Conflict has escalated in recent weeks as Israel has refocused its military efforts away from Gaza, where it has significantly degraded Hamas, in preparation for a potential northern incursion. If tensions were to rise to the point where Israel and Iran engaged in direct combat for a second time, it would be the worst-case scenario for American leaders. The U.S. may struggle to contain the escalating tit-for-tat in a future round similar to April's. At least according to American authorities, Israel and Hezbollah would rather settle the conflict diplomatically. Israel does not seek a full-scale conflict with Hezbollah, but it is prepared to hit the group hard if provoked much further, Mr. Gallant warned officials in the Biden administration during his visit to Washington. Along with Mr. Gallant, Mr. Hochstein, Secretary of State Antony J. Blinken, and CIA Director William J. Burns were among the officials who visited with him. The U.S. aim is de-escalation, stated David Schenker, a former Assistant Secretary of State for Near Eastern Affairs in the Trump administration. War is something neither side is interested in. Israel invaded Lebanon in 1982, prompting the formation of Hezbollah with Iranian support to oppose Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon. Hezbollah, as comparison to Hamas, is a far more dangerous terrorist organization since it has accumulated thousands of rockets that might destroy Israeli cities. Intelligence organizations in the United States have concluded that Hezbollah is attempting to strike across the border in support of Hamas, but is attempting to avoid providing Israel with a pretext to invade Lebanon. According to American authorities, there is internal disagreement within the Israeli administration regarding the merits of launching a larger front in the north. Israel should have responded to the October 7 Hamas strikes by attempting to eliminate both Hezbollah and Hamas, according to some Israeli officials, including Mr. Gallant. American officials have reported that Mr. Gallant's stance has changed. According to the officials, he has now stated that it would be unwise to launch a new front. However, experts and officials in the United States warn that the possibility of the war's expansion is still quite real. The political pressure on Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu to restore security in northern Israel, where 60,000 people have fled, is increasing. Although many would like to return to the neighborhood before the start of the school year in September, the majority of them express a lack of safety due to the ongoing bombings by Hezbollah.